Frank Oz is an amazingly seasoned director. Mm-hmm. He's an amazingly seasoned director of comedy.
Yes, he is.
And this is, I always forget how peppy this film is. This film bounces just from scene to scene, from moment to moment. And part of besides his direction, you've got this amazing script by Steve Martin.
YUNKJunk! Hey, welcome to the Micheaux Mission, 2 Men, 1 podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Len, a.k.a. the Bat Tribble. And as always, even in 2024, I am joined by my partner.
Hey, it's Vincent Williams.
Happy New Year, Missionaries.
Happy New Year.
We are back
with
a whole new year of reviews for you as we will begin our countdown to episode 400.
Woo!
Oh boy. Oh boy. And we just found out another milestone. This is our 40th episode here at YUNKJunk in Manayunk, PA.
40 episodes in living color.
Amen. And tonight we have a very, very special film for you. And we'll tell you why in a moment. This film from 1999, starring Steve Martin, starring Eddie Murphy, is so special. It is Bowfinger. Vincent's selection for tonight's stop on the Micheaux Mission, streaming live, as I mentioned, from YUNKJunk to all points north, south, east, and west, including Facebook and YouTube, where each and every one of you are out there in the chat. Hello, missionaries.
Good evening, one and all.
Vincent, how are you doing?
I am great.
It has been too damn long since I laid eyes on you.
Too long, but here we are. Well rested and
here we are.
Easy. Oh. That was real loud, real quick.
I'm excited.
I know, but I'm good. How are you?
I am
just excited. Excited. You just said that. Yeah. We just covered that.
I am very excited.
Yeah. Good to be here.
How was your New Year's?
Quiet.
Did you make it to midnight?
Barely. Barely.
Well, you weren't in the bed at
midnight. No. Everybody was up on and we watched, but yeah, then it was like, all right. Yeah. And yourself?
I'll see y'all later.
Yeah.
We had a good time. I have a young nephew who actually, his birthday was on December 31st.
Nice.
So the family got together celebrating with him. And then I went back to my place and celebrated with my partner, and we had a beautiful time.
Nice.
It was very, very lovely.
Excellent.
It was very, very lovely.
Nice that you brought in the new year the way you want the year to go.
Yeah, but one strange thing that I noticed.
What is that?
Because tuned in, as I think it's almost like muscle memory now. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, missionaries. For people to, if you are home or have a TV near, to have the TV on for the dropping of the ball, famously in
New York,
New Year's on Times Square, in New York. But noticing this year, and it may have happened years earlier, the ball looks completely different because the lights years ago. It used to be like this bejeweled, like star almost looking thing, but now they're all LED lights, and it's not the same energy.
Doesn't feel the same.
It didn't feel as special for me.
Yeah, I can see that.
So anyway.
Yeah. I didn't notice. But I noticed it's always people performing, and I have no idea who they are.
Oh, you would have known this one person.
It's like, who are these people?
Because I don't know where. I guess Dick Clark, God rest his soul, is no longer here.
Yes,
but they want to still try and represent his era.
Okay.
So singing right before midnight was Paul Anka.
You know what? I saw Paul Anka. And I said, where the hell did
That's what I said. Now, mind you, it was about 30 degrees out there.
Yeah.
He had on a nice wool coat.
Right.
Now, Paul Anka definitely asked them, just put me here. I'm not moving. And he stood there.
I mean, I ain't mad at him.
And then he was just with the hands.
Right.
The hands were going. And he was do it my way.
Yeah.
That was it. All night with the hands. And his face was blue.
I mean,
because he refused to wear a hat.
I mean, you're performing. It's
and he's
cold.
like, he's 90.
He's got to be
8.5 years
He's got to
old.
be.
I mean,
God bless him.
And God bless him. He didn't look bad for 98
look,
and a half.
Man.
You know?
But it was weird.
It's weird. It's not what I expected.
It's like, Paul Anka? Am I in the Matrix?
Exactly. It was weird.
Like, did they load the wrong disc?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but all right. Yeah, there you
It
go.
was there. Speaking of jumping into the Wayback Machine.
Yes.
Over the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
I actually went to the movies.
Okay.
Sat in the theater.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Lounged back.
Yeah.
Enjoying the... I can no longer eat pretzel bites, but I was still chilling.
Okay, did I miss? Why can't you?
I can't.
I know you said they're not fresh sometimes, but I thought there was a theater that you went to that they were fresh.
There is, but that theater is not always accessible because it's right in the heart of downtown Philadelphia.
Okay.
So now most theaters I go to have these pretzel bites that I can't eat.
Because they're stale.
They're stale.
Yeah.
They just don't. They don't agree with me.
They don't
the same
agree
way.
with you.
I
Okay.
can't.
Right.
Can't.
See, I pay attention.
Nope.
Right.
Thank you.
I mean, I may or may not be keeping notes for when I'm one of the participants in the Netflix documentary in 10 years about you being a serial killer.
But so I was in the theaters,
In the theater, not eating
not eating.
pretzel bites.
I eating pretzel bites. Watching The Color Purple.
Yeah.
The adaptation
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
musical of
Yeah.
The Color Purple.
Right.
Which has been in the news a little bit because of Taraji P. Henson.
In all fairness, it's not just Taraji P. Henson. Like it seems like it's a little.
Oh, I've only heard her.
You know, Danielle Brooks talked about the food issue and.
Oh, really?
And I think the little sister who played young Celie would just put some slick stuff on TikTok about how she wasn't invited to the Golden Globes, and it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about the movie?
I enjoyed the movie.
Okay.
I enjoyed the movie. I had seen the musical adaptation on stage.
Okay.
So I recognize that this adaptation, which if you've seen the original movie, sticks to a lot of the same story beats. But I think it gives the character Celie more agency and more prominence in the story. So I was wondering whether or not the movie would also ring true with that, and I felt that it did.
Okay.
I got a soft spot for Fantasia.
Sure. And did you see Fantasia on stage when you saw it?
No, because she had already left when I saw it. I saw it when it came to Philly.
Okay. So, but you didn't see Cynthia Erivo.
No, I did not see.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Cynthia Erivo. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed most of the performances. Well, let's put it this way. I actually enjoyed all of the performances. I don't know how many of them really rang true. Like, I love Coleman Domingo as an actor. I don't know if I felt the same bite from him as as Danny Glover. You mentioned Danielle Brooks. To me, she steals the movie.
I 100% agree.
She steals the movie. That's right, because you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it too. I was going to let you.
But I enjoyed it. There were some iffy points. I did feel, my memory is that the play not only gives Celie more agency, but actually it really depicts more of the relationship between Celie and Suge than certainly the original movie, which was so many years ago
Sure,
that they
sure.
really just didn't have the leeway to do that.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the time.
yeah. There's actually a interview floating around from around that time where Whoopi Goldberg says that.
Yeah, basically
She's like, in 1984, we couldn't.
we couldn't do it.
Yeah,
but they could do it in the play.
Mm-hmm.
And they do depict that more in this movie adaptation. My memory is that it's hit a little bit harder in the on the stage than it is in the film, and I would have liked to see that a little bit more explored. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought it's an amazing looking movie. It's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I thought it was solid. Mm-hmm. Overall solid. I think you may have enjoyed it more than I did. I thought a sliver more maybe, because I think we have similar reactions to it. I thought it's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
And we always like a well-funded black film. Daniel Brooks, much like you, I think far and away kind of steals the movie. I love Corey Hawkins.
Could have had more Corey Hawkins.
I could have had more Corey Hawkins. And frankly, I think Corey Hawkins and his depiction of Harpo is the biggest corrective to the 1984 movie, because I've always said one of the decisions that I've always disagreed with is making Harpo the comic relief.
Yeah.
Because that really kind of undermines one of the big themes in the book, that Harpo is the bravest man in the book, because he breaks this generational cycle
Yes.
of these abusive men. And his father was too much of a coward to be with Shug Avery. And then Harpo is brave enough to be with the woman he loves. And along those lines, I thought Corey Hawkins and Danielle Brooks' chemistry and everything was glorious. I don't have a soft spot for Fantasia, but I also felt a little bad for Fantasia, because I do think Whoopi Goldberg's Celie is one of the greatest performances of the late 20th century.
And you can't help but
it's one of the greatest, like in the fact that anyone, I really thought it was a poison chalice from the very beginning. It's like a couple of years ago when, appropriately enough, Steven Spielberg remade West Side Story. Yeah. And I said this when we talked about it. I thought Ariana DeBose was great, but Rita Moreno was perfect. So no matter how good you are, you're not going to be as good as perfect. And I thought Fantasia was okay. I thought she was solid. Kind of going to, and you hate to ascribe the stuff happening outside the film to what happened in the film. But even before all these stories and things came out, you and I talked about it a little bit last week, where I have to say my disappointment, because I had so many great expectations, was with Taraji P. Henson. I thought she did okay, but when I heard she was cast as Shug Avery, I thought she was going to kill it.
This was going to be her moment.
I thought this would this is it right here. And I just felt like the energy was a little off, and ultimately, I thought it was solid. I think everyone should go see it. Frankly, I think you have to see it. I think if you're interested in this podcast, if you're interested in black film, The Color Purple in all of its iterations, you need to know. This is one of the most important texts in black culture. Full stop. So you got to know about it. It's a solid film, but I don't know how much I would revisit it if I ever have the choice between this and the original one, which is always my challenge to remakes.
Yeah, which do you go?
Right.
And it's very few.
And we've talked about this. There are very, you make this remake, and the question is, do you justify your existence? And I don't know if this does for me.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was of that mindset with the musical adaptation. I was like, oh, they're making this a musical for Broadway. And like, really?
Even that, I never really understood how the story of rape and beatings and degradation.
I mean, that is fodder for drama.
No, not drama. I just
but for musical.
How much we needed a dance number.
I hear you.
So, but people seem to like it. I didn't see it,
and I did see it, and I felt that okay, it justified it.
Okay,
it did it. But I can maybe see your point.
Yeah. And I didn't see it on stage. Like, even if, like, obviously it's a different energy.
Totally different.
On stage.
Totally different.
So, I didn't see it on stage. But, yeah.
Yeah, but it was interesting. I did see, I'm trying to think, now that I think about it, I did see this during the break.
Okay.
And I don't think we mentioned it on the show.
Yeah, okay.
That I finally saw Pearly Victorious.
Hi, whoa, now that's a thing right there.
Pearly Victorious, that's a thing.
That's a thing right there.
Pearly Victorious, that was a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun show.
How you like my girl?
Oh.
How you like my girl? Kara Young.
The second she opens her mouth with that voice.
Reverend Pearly. Reverend Pearly.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Kara Young.
On the floor, dog. She was absolutely amazing. Everybody's great in it.
Right, absolutely.
And Leslie is phenomenal in it because he is asked to deliver like some 8-minute long monologues while moving all around the stage.
I'm sure he's one of the 70 bazillion cast members of Hamilton that won a Tony.
And rightfully so.
Right.
Man.
So that was.
But Kara Young steals that thing. Man.
I know.
She absolutely steals it. Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good. And I don't know if you saw, but later when we left the theater, waiting to see everybody come out, which was a challenge for us because we had to make the train. One of the stars of American Fiction was there.
Oh, which star was that?
That would be the lovely Erica Alexander.
All right, now
was waiting outside.
It's always good to have an Erica Alexander sighting.
Oh, it was delightful.
Yes, excellent.
Because not only did beautifully she remembered being on my radio show, Black Tribbles, and we talked about that. But I learned that she is the birthday twin of my partner. So those two were guffawing about it.
Oh,
she went to our same high school in Philadelphia, so we joked about that.
Nice.
And then she said, well, we got to take a picture as if we would have looked when we were on the prom. So I took a picture with her as if we were on the prom.
And then you said you should come on the Micheaux Mission, right?
I'm trying to get her.
Nice.
I'm trying to get her in for the Micheaux Mission.
Nice. We talked about American Fiction on here, right?
We've talked about
it.
Okay,
we
talked about it. And it's a great, if you haven't seen it.
See American Fiction, fantastic. Everybody's
Fiction.
Great.
Mm-hmm. See American Fiction.
Mm-hmm. And she's great in it.
Oh, she's absolutely fantastic.
She's fantastic in it, yeah.
You want to talk about another funny movie. That's a good movie.
Yeah.
American Fiction. That was a good movie. All right.
Speaking of funny, I guess we are contractually bound to mention Cat Williams.
Yes, Cat Williams.
Yeah, right. So we have to mention Cat Williams,
who is
and his apparently Festivus came late for him because he had an airing of grievances. He had an airing of grievances. I don't know if there were feats of strength, but there were certainly airings of grievances.
I don't know. Is that an airing of grievances, or was that diarrhea of the grievances?
Airing of all the. Look. What did dude's father say? I got a lot to say to you people.
Dude, if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, the comedian Cat Williams was a guest on the Shannon Sharp show, Club Shay Shay, where basically Shannon Sharp says, "So Cat, how you doing?" And that was it. We were off and running because Cat Williams.
Let me tell you about these motherfuckers.
Let me tell you about these. You just sat there and let these people just lie to you.
Oh my goodness.
And he goes in on Ricky Smiley. He goes in on Cedric the Entertainer. He goes in on Steve Harvey.
He goes in on a lot of people.
Oh my.
And in his defense, from what I understand, I don't know this because I'm not a Shannon. Like, I just kind of see the clips every now and then.
Okay.
Apparently, these are people who had said things about him previously on Shannon Sharp's show.
Right. They had mentioned
Right.
Cat Williams.
Right.
And they're not necessarily, if I remember, because I didn't see the Ricky Smiley interview, but I did see the Cedric and Entertainer interview. Not necessarily in a disparaging way,
But at all.
but they, as Cat Williams said, since they took license to have my name cross their lips,
Sure.
I'm here to set it straight.
So for those of you keeping a list, I don't know if it's a list with just two names, but we should probably keep a running list. Will Smith's wife, Cat Williams. Everybody, we need to be, we want to settle it like gentlemen. Don't nobody want to go outside and get into no gangster shit. So, Will Smith's wife, Cat Williams, keep those names
Out your mouth.
out of your mouth. And ain't going to be no trouble.
Won't be no trouble because there's trouble now.
Right. What I find fascinating, though, just the business side of it, is that we now have this, because that interview is like almost 3 hours.
Yes. And for people who, like, he goes in on like the first 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But the whole 3 hours is amazing.
It is riveting.
It is riveting.
So, like, sometimes I feel bad. Like, we'll go like, an hour and a half or, knock on 2 hours. It's like, damn, I guess. But apparently, if you are interesting enough,
You can
like, we can all
work.
count, like, that's something to aim for. Like, hopefully you can hold people's attention, because I sat and listened to that thing.
Yeah. And him going in on people was interesting, it was funny, it was amazing.
Sure.
But then when he gets into the stories about his life.
Right. A
and his
real interesting
upbringing,
guy.
With stuff that he's touched on in his comedy. But like with most people when they do comedy, there's touches of the real and then there's touches of where they're expanding, stretching it for the joke. So you never know where the real is. And this, even though he's being funny, you get the sense it was 100% just real.
Yeah.
He's spilling it. As a matter of fact, there are times in the interview where Shannon Sharp actually tries to like kind of retort with a joke, and Cat like just keeps it serious.
Right.
He's like, nah, I'm here, I'm bearing it, so
Right.
let's go, man. Let's ride this feeling.
Right. And it's fascinating because we just did Friday After Next.
Yes, he
went
talks about
on
Friday After Next.
And he talked, well, apparently Friday After Next is ground zero for what's happening between him and Ricky Smiley. So, like, now you got to go back and watch that again.
I know.
So, but all right. But there you go.
There you go.
So
that's it. Much of Cat Williams.
We touched on it.
All
right.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into the show.
Because we don't want no problems.
No,
Mr.
none.
Williams.
None. Because I'm going to see him, and he's coming to Atlantic City.
All right.
So I'm going to see him. I don't need
No problems. All right.
no spotlight on that Micheaux nigga.
Will Smith's wife,
I don't want that.
Cat Williams. Everybody write it down. All right. We'll add to the list if we have to.
All right.
All right.
Let's get into the show, which means we are going to respond to some of the emails, or as we like to call them,
Missives from the Missionaries.
So what else is going on, Len?
we have emails, Vincent.
Ooh, missives from the Missionaries.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Missives from the Missionaries.
I'm laughing because Dylan cues us from over in Producer Central, but I can see his fingers as he's working like the board. So he's just bouncing to the music, and I can tell when he gets to that.
Like when it's get to the point where it's, right,
he's like,
right. There you go.
I love Dylan. All right. Mrs. from the Missionaries, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting with an email from Corey P.
Hey, what's up, Corey?
We actually have two. This is the first of two.
Okay.
Hi, Len and Vince. This email is rather celebratory.
Oh, very nice.
I want to start off and say thank you for this podcast. As a black woman, I don't really listen to a lot of male-centered podcasts, especially black men, because to me, there is misogyny and them being overall jerks and ignorant.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. I love how the two of you often celebrate black women without bashing us, while giving us listeners insight and sometimes unbiased takes on these black movies. I love how you guys bring black women to talk about black women-centered films. Keep up the great work as always. Happy holidays from a fellow missionary. That is from Corey P.
Oh, well, thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. Really appreciate that.
We try.
We do try.
We try. I don't really understand, like, a lot of these. It's so weird how we're in a podcast. See, like, everybody got a podcast. Mm-hmm. But it does seem like it's just a bunch of dudes sitting around complaining.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. The biggest thing in the proliferation of podcasts, which, of course, now is YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that the big thing now is for ex-athletes to have podcasts and have their fellow ex-athletes on and basically giving their interviews, the interviews that they couldn't do when they were athletes.
Right.
And talk a whole lot of ish about the game and about their life and everything like that. And I do think, I don't want to color with a broad brush here,
Sure.
but I do think that does lend itself to a little bit of trying to bring that street in, you know, around trying to do the barbershop talk, as it were. And it does lend itself to some conversations that, you know, being a little bit more unfiltered and misogynistic, to be perfectly frank. I think, and unfortunately, YouTube has become such a giant out there that once you get a certain number of views to your thing,
Sure.
now you got ads coming in, and a lot of these guys, they don't care about the ads. So they don't care about if a certain company doesn't want to sponsor them because of maybe some of the stuff they're doing. They don't care because there's another, as long as they get the beer, the alcohol, and the gambling, they got enough money coming in.
Yeah, but see, even what you're talking about, it's like a hook. Like, I'm an ex-athlete, you know, basically a version of what Shannon Sharp.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, I'm an ex-athlete. I talk to my friends.
Shannon's way more classy.
No. I'm just saying, like my angle is I'm an ex-athlete.
Yes.
I talk to other ex-athletes and build out from there.
Right.
I'm a 90s MC because, you know, like Questlove has a podcast and I talk to music people.
Yes.
Like, I'm talking about just
The Joe Blow.
the Joe Blow, and I don't want to put words in Corey's mouth, but it's like these dudes who like talk about women and what women do or do not do for them and what they want from women, and it's like this weird circle jerk of dudes talking to other dudes about women and how they don't like these women and what the women don't do and this, that, and the other. And you know.
Well, podcast is primarily a male dominated.
I hate to be that guy, but I'm always like, dog, when's the last time you had a date? Like, it's like three blind mice trying to describe an elephant. Like,
Yeah, see, but the thing about those,
Why are you talking about women?
see, but the thing
You
about
don't know any women.
but the thing about those podcasts, I think they're in response to some of the foolishness that they see happening on a lot of those reality shows
Right,
where it's women kind of sitting around talking a lot of crazy stuff.
right, right. But see, even that, and now I might be drifting into my own internalized sort of
You do sound like you.
heteronormative views, and like that type of behavior from a man. Like you saw some women doing some stuff and you didn't like it, so then you
So then
came
you're
on
gonna-
and you're like, I'm not going to say I smell bitch, but right, like the men I know, like, what are you doing right now?
No, I 100% agree with you.
Certainly, the oil in your car needs to be changed. Certainly, grass needs to be. My godfather cuts his grass 3 times a week. Certainly, you have grass to cut. I know there's some ungrilled meat in the fridge. Certainly, there's something you can be doing. Certainly, there's a drip in the sink in the bathroom on the second floor that you can tighten up the washer.
It's been dripping for a while.
It's been like certainly, there's something you can be doing. Certainly.
Look at the camera when you say it. Look at that camera.
Certainly, there's something you can be doing around your house. Certainly. Besides sitting and talking about women that you don't know nor date. Like, certainly.
To quote Kit Ramsey, get it together.
Get it together, like,
Keep it together. Keep it together.
certainly?
Let's continue. We got another email from
Okay.
Corey. From Corey P. Hi, Len and Vince. Happy New Year to both of you. To start things off, I do have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Out of the 4 movies that Denzel Washington has done with Spike Lee,
Okay.
Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X, He Got Game, and Inside Man, which film would you erase?
Woo!
You want to hear our answer first?
Yeah.
For me, it would be He Got Game. Because while Spike Lee took the unconventional route of making this movie, I feel like there is too much plot instead of just one story. Denzel delivers a magnificent performance as Jake Shuttlesworth, but the rest of the cast, in my opinion, fell flat. Cheers to 2024. Side note, you guys have to review Hoodlum, The Inkwell, Alma's Rainbow, I Like It Like That, and The Women of Brewster's Place.
When a Brewster Place was not a movie, we'd have to do a
Like a
binge lounge
for that. 'cause
For
it's
that,
TV movie.
yeah. But the rest of them
Are fair game.
Are in very shortlisted.
Very fair game. So what movie of the Mo Better Blues, Malcolm X, He Got Game, or Inside Man of the Spike Lee, Denzel Washington filmography would you erase?
That is really, really hard. Because the thing about the 2 films that are in the bottom slots for me,
It's got to be
both
the same
He
two.
Got Game and Inside Man, is I feel like Denzel Washington plays roles he doesn't necessarily play. Like, while certainly he's played law enforcement, I feel like his role in Inside Man started, like, that's the very beginning of that kind of Denzel's getting a little older role.
Okay.
And I know I liked He Got Game better than you, but I really like Denzel Washington in He Got Game as this very checkered, this father with a checkered past. I mean, I'm going to say He Got Game just because I think Inside Man is frankly a better film than He Got Game. But it hurts.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's not going to hurt for you because you didn't like it as much as I did, but yeah, I'm going to.
Yeah, I would say He Got Game, but I honestly, and I would say it for the same reason as Corey. I just think as an overall film,
Yeah.
the other performances kind of like let it down.
Sure.
So it's easy to take it. Like And honestly, while I think Denzel is good in it, I think he's not given as much as you want him to give. But he's so good that you feel like he's giving you more. But he's really not. And it's not his fault.
Right. Like Denzel at half speed is still better than most people at full speed.
Right.
Yeah. Good question though.
Good question.
I hate questions like that.
Oh, then Sophie's Choice like that?
Yeah, I hate those questions.
We got another email. This is from Nicole Court.
Hey, what's up, Nicole?
Greetings, Len and Vincent. I recently listened to the Straight Outta Brooklyn episode from
Nice.
way back.
About to say that's an early one.
And you both made some interesting points regarding the movie. Straight Outta Brooklyn could have been a great movie, but for me, it was thrown together. I wanted to say that I like the character of Shirley, Dennis's girlfriend. To me, she stood 10 toes on what she said and took no bullcrap from Dennis's antics. Other than that, Straight Outta Brooklyn is a movie, if you want to call it that.
Oh.
You coming for its neck. All right.
I still like Straight Outta Brooklyn.
Yeah, I seem to remember liking it enough, you know? Yeah. All right.
I think the same thing. I think they pushed Matty Rich too hard, too fast. Like, I think he got too big, too fast.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he get big?
I mean, you know, speaking off of the Inkwell, like there's no way he should have gotten a film with a budget that big, with the cast that big, that quickly. It was just very much, he kind of was in that wake of Spike Lee.
Yeah, you're right.
And, you know, every black male filmmaker with some glasses on.
You're right.
So, even though I really like the Inkwell, but, yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank
you for all of your emails, ladies and gentlemen. We got
Absolutely.
tons of more email, but a lot of them were of the Happy New Year, Happy Holidays.
And Happy New Year, Happy Holidays to everyone.
And if you want to send an email to us, feel free. Please email us at Micheaux Mission at gmail.com. That's MICHEAUX MISSION Now, it's time for the top 5.
All right.
Top 5. Who's your top 5? My top 5 is.
Top 5, ladies and gentlemen, where I give Vincent a list and he gives us his scintillating commentary on it. Tonight's top 5, Vincent, you may or may not have commentary on this one because this one, and Dylan, little production note, we're going to be doing from 1 to 5. In alphabetical order, these are my top 5 black films of 2023.
Okay, very nice.
Now, mind you, I did not see every black film.
Sure.
2023. But in reviewing and looking at things for this feature, I saw most of them.
Okay.
And most of the ones that I didn't see were like streaming. And there's no way you're going to catch every streaming one, you know?
Sure.
It's too many. There's a whole lot of black Christmas movies.
Yes.
I wasn't able to catch them all. But this is my top.
And I love that.
I do love it too.
I love the fact that there's so many black movies that you have to do a disclaimer.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see all of them.
How often is that the
Yeah,
case,
so.
right?
But what we got?
So, this is an alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order.
All right. I believe I did this in alphabetical order.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Unfortunately, you are talking to an audience that knows their alphabet. So,
So number one should be all dirt roads taste of salt.
yes, you were celebrating that before we started, saying I got to watch it.
It is
because I haven't seen it.
It is a very underrated, slept on independent film. Here's a write up on it, written and directed by Raven Jackson, starring Charlene McClure, Moses Ingram, Reginald Helms Jr., and Chris Chalk, with Barry Jenkins serving as a producer.
Okay, all right.
A decade-spanning exploration of a woman's life in Mississippi.
Okay.
and an ode to the generations of people, places, and moments that shape us all.
Oh.
I'm telling you, this movie is a poem, because it's and poem is not even, it's more of like a piece of music, because it's very little dialogue.
Okay.
In this movie, it's absolutely gorgeous, heart wrenching, soul lifting. It is a beautiful film. I gave y'all a little piece about it. It's just this woman's life from basically childhood to senior or elderly days. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of the. It almost reminded me a little bit of Daughters of the Dust.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd be really
That's
interested
big praise.
in your
Okay,
take on
now,
this.
all right.
So there you go. All dirt roads turn to salt.
Okay.
Taste of salt. Excuse me. Taste
Okay.
of salt. Number two. Continuing in alphabetical order.
Alphabetical order.
Written and directed by Cord Jefferson.
Yes, sir.
American Fiction.
Yes, sir.
Which we have talked about, which stars Jeffrey Wright, Tracy Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, and Erica Alexander, and Leslie Uggams.
Leslie
Uggams in a role in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Quick to just tell you what the movie is about. A frustrated novelist / professor who jokingly writes an outlandishly stereotypical black book out of spite, only for it to be published and receive widespread fame and acclaim. And if you think I gave it away, trust me, I didn't.
No, you didn't.
This movie is hilarious.
Yeah.
It is absolutely hilarious. And when I know we're in award seasons now because the Golden Globes just happened. You could pick an actor from here and throw an award at them.
Cast is so good.
Sterling K. Brown is a beast in this movie.
Look.
Erica Alexander is so understated in this movie.
Look.
And you know what? You know how everybody caped up in the last year for Jamie Lee Curtis and Michelle Yeoh? Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to go and give some flowers to Leslie Uggams.
She's fantastic.
She is absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely
and I've mentioned on this show, like, where's Leslie Uggams?
Where's Leslie?
Why is she not getting that work?
Yeah. She's extraordinary. She really is. It's funny because I follow Jeffrey Wright on Instagram, and he posted something that he was somewhere, and he told Leslie Uggams that he had a crush on her. So like it was so great working with her.
Wow.
And as many accolades as Jeffrey Wright has. Oh, Tracy Ellis Ross is fantastic too. I think because she was on Blackish for so many years, which, it's Blackish, ABC's kind of comedy fodder, now it's syndicated. And then she was on Girlfriends. Mm-hmm. I think it's very easy to take her for granted.
Okay.
Tracy Ellis Ross is very, very good in this. And as many accolades as Jeffrey Wright has gotten,
rightfully so,
he's extraordinary. Like, he's an extraordinary actor.
He is.
And it is, not to be Debbie Downer, but in my mind, it is an indictment on just sort of the ambient racism of Hollywood. That Jeffrey Wright, this is the first real meaty lead role I can think of with him that kind of hits the level of his talent. Yeah, you can't talk about. And as a first-time director and screenwriter, Cord Jefferson is now on my list of people that gets me to the movie sight unseen. So,
most definitely.
Yeah, absolutely American Fiction.
All right. Continuing
So far, they've been alphabetical. The L comes before the M. Like, both of the movies started with A, then you go to the second letter.
Yes.
So, the L comes, so far, gold star.
Just want to put your doctorate to use, your doctorate in English.
Yes, because that's when I learned how to alphabetize things.
When you got your doctorate.
Yeah.
Here's where I think I messed up.
Uh-oh.
Number 3.
Uh-oh.
Because I don't have them listed in alphabetical order.
Aardvarks are black. A small documentary out of Stony Mountain, Georgia, about the indigenous American aardvark. Go ahead.
Number 3 is a British film,
Okay.
a British romantic comedy
Okay.
directed by Rain Allen Miller.
Okay.
In her first directorial debut, Rye Lane.
Okay.
Have you checked out Rye Lane? I
No,
know Tanya Pendleton told us about it.
it's very, very short list. You haven't messed up. Oh, but the next movie probably doesn't start.
No.
It starts with a.
No, I got it. I got it right.
Okay, you got it right. All right. Yeah.
I got it right.
Did you see Rylane?
No, I did.
Oh, you
All
did.
these are films
Oh,
that I've
that
seen.
you actually saw. Okay, go ahead.
Now, just to let people know, two strangers who have a chance encounter after both breaking up have experienced recent breakups and spend the day getting to know one another. This film stars David Johnson and Vivian Opera from a screenplay by Nathan Bryan, and it's set in South London. Mm-hmm. It is a truly adorable movie. It'll remind you of I just drew a blank on the movie where they're basically just walking through San Francisco.
You just mentioned Barry Jenkins. I was like, is this like Medicine for Melancholy?
It's got a lot,
like a companion piece to Medicine for Melancholy.
Yes, but it's not as, because Medicine for Melancholy does have a more of a laid back
Sure.
vibe. And this, because these are younger, your protagonists are younger. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more lively.
Okay.
And it's in color.
Right.
But it's funny. It's sweet. It's adorable. And it's very authentic, I think.
Okay.
The dialogue, how they react to one another, how they are there for one another, and also indict one another a little bit on their past relationships, while still building and getting closer together throughout the film is actually beautifully well done.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it. I was flipping through, I think it's on Hulu. And I very rarely open up my Hulu. But I said, let me see what movies are on Hulu. And Rye Lane was there. And I remember Tanya Pendleton saying like this, she had saw it and it's something that we should see. And I said, let me just sit down and watch Rye Lane. I enjoyed every minute of it, man.
Okay.
It was really, really great.
It is on my extremely short list.
Should check that out.
Yeah.
Number 4. This is the only animated film
Okay.
on my list.
All right.
And it is, of course, Spider-Man.
Of course.
Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, sir.
The sequel.
Yes,
to
sir.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Which features Miles Morales Spider-Man in an adventure with Gwen Stacy / Spider-Woman, where he meets a team of spider people known as the Spider Society, but come into conflict with them over handling a new threat in the form of the Spot. And if you are a geek like Vincent and I, and somebody told you that there was going to be a Spider-Man film that featured a villain called the Spot,
Yeah.
and you were going to absolutely love this movie, including the villain, you'd have said, get out of here. Had to be Doc Ock,
Right.
or the Green Goblin. This movie picks up where Into the Spider-Verse left off, and it just keeps it going and doubles down on it. Double down on the animation, double down on the experimenting of the tones. It creates a whole world of like watercolors and washes for Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman. It then introduces this whole spider society. It introduces the multiverse without it being convoluted. It's still very much straight to the point. And yet, and we both talked about this, with knowing that this was going to be the multiverse and all these spider people, are they going to lose sight of Miles Morales? Not only do they not lose sight of Miles Morales, they build up his family in this, and they become more integral to the story. And it's absolutely incredible. And it's a movie that when it ends, there's a piece of you that's going to be like, what the? When's the next one?
Yeah, look. It's sheer perfection. It really is. Like everything, like it's streaming now, and
Yes.
just since it's been streaming, I just look at the set pieces sometimes. Like I look at Miles and Gwen swinging through the city. I look at when they're saving people in Moonbatten. That whole sequence.
Oh, that is an amazing
the sequence
scene.
when Miles is trying to escape. You know, like just everything. And as you said, we are geeks, lifelong. We watch movies every week, so we do anatomy lessons every week on these movies. There were plot beats in this film that legitimately surprised me.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
And I said, I cannot believe I didn't know this was going to happen. Because it played fair. Because the other thing
Everything is there.
The other thing is, if you go back to the first movie, there are plot details that happen in this film that they played fair. And that is the sign of excellent screenwriting and
Yes.
filmmaking. And it's look.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And real quick, let's just give some love to that. The screenplay was by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. And the directing was by Joaquin Dos Santos and Ken Powers.
Yeah.
Both names that we know.
Yeah.
And both who work we absolutely love.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was absolutely
Yeah.
spot on, man. And number five, not coming in bringing up the rear,
Right.
because this is a movie that maybe predates all of these films.
Right. It's just alphabetical though.
But it's just alphabetical.
Right. S has come after R. So
But this is the film that I only just saw.
okay. And that would be
They cloned Tyrone.
oh, you like that? They cloned Tyrone. You fronted. It took you forever to watch it.
It took me forever to watch this movie. I admit, Vincent has been on me about it. Our associate producer Maurice has been on me about it. Everybody has been on me about, you gotta watch They Cloned Tyrone.
And then once you did,
That movie's crazy. That movie is absolutely crazy. If you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, look. It stars John Boyega, Tiana Paris, and Jamie Foxx. As an unlikely trio uncovering a government cloning conspiracy. It also features in supporting roles David Alan Grier and one Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland doing
work. John Boyega is unrecognizable in this movie for a little bit. Like eventually I'd lock on like, oh, that's John Boyega. But it took me a minute. Tiana Paris, I absolutely adore Tiana Paris.
Of course you do.
In this movie that was directed by Joel Taylor, again, directorial debut.
In
a film that he wrote with Tony Rettenmeyer. Absolutely funny, bananas movie. But as you say, that goddamn Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx.
You said Jamie Foxx. you want to talk about not fair.
Jamie
It is
Foxx.
not fair
Look.
how talented that man is.
You know what I love about Jamie Foxx? Because at this point, he's Academy Award winning. I think he has he's got to have a Grammy at this point.
Probably.
Like he's got to be he's got to be halfway to an EGOT. Like he's actually I love how committed he was to this role. Mm-hmm. Like just how balls to the wall committed he is to this role, which frankly he didn't have to.
No.
Like there's enough makeup. It's a small enough character. He's talented enough. Mm-hmm. He could have halfway phoned it in.
He could have easily phoned it
and it would have been solid. Like it was enough going on.
Yes.
This would have been solid. But he is fully committed to this.
There is the scene where the trio come upon this clone farm, as it were. And Jamie Foxx, he's basically this pimp throughout the whole movie.
Sure.
And he just stepped out of Black Dynamite.
Yeah.
Through the whole movie. But there's a moment when they come into that clone farm where he switches and he's the real guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel false at all.
No.
Because that is a credit to his skill as an
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah.
And it still feels 100% authentic when he switches.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing to see.
Now, you said Black Dynamite. You know the connection between these two movies?
No.
The malt liquor that John Boyega's character drinks is Anaconda malt liquor,
Which is from Black
Dynamite. I forgot the little brother's name who made the film, but he said he was Jewel Taylor. He was such a fan of Black Dynamite that apparently he got in touch with Michael Jai White.
Okay.
And asked permission to have Anaconda malt liquor in the movie, and Michael Jai White was like, "Yeah,
and it
dope."
totally makes sense.
Yeah, it totally, like, not to give away the movie, but it totally makes sense that they would be drinking Anaconda malt liquor, the malt liquor that makes you go ooh wee. It's the only malt liquor sponsored by the United States government. Anaconda malt liquor.
And what's the chicken
makes
called?
you go woo-wee.
What's the chicken?
I forget the chicken.
Goddamn chicken.
Yes. Yes, it's April is coming. April is coming, and we will be talking about their clone Tyrone.
Yeah.
Extensively.
Most definitely.
Well, those are good films.
Those are my. So, what do you think of my top 5 list?
I think that's a good list.
With them,
I have no
Anything
quibbles.
You might want to slide in. I see our associate producer Maurice is.
Was Honk for Jesus this year?
I feel like that was.
I thought Honk for Jesus was last year.
I feel like it was.
Otherwise, I'd have I'm a Honk for Jesus man.
I love the movie too. But I don't think that was 2023.
Yeah, I think it was. But yeah,
anything that you can think of that you might slide in there?
Not off the top. Like you hit.
I didn't know. Like Rustin. I thought Rustin was okay.
I still haven't seen it.
I thought Rustin was all right, but
Yeah.
it just didn't come up to the level. It was close. The Blackening, we talked about The Blackening.
Yeah, The Blackening wasn't as good as
what's on this list. As solid as anything here. Color Purple, liked it, but
I don't think The Color Purple is as strong as anything on this list.
Me neither.
Yeah,
me neither. So
it's a good list.
All right,
good list, good year.
Good year. Hey, like you said, right. There were too many.
And
it's not often we can say that.
It's not often we can say that.
There you go.
All right.
There we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top 5. And now it's time for the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
As we unveil for 2024. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin.
All right.
Well, you'd be surprised what a person can do with just a sensitive touch and a sensitive sound.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, ladies and gentlemen, where Vincent will have 6 films or less to connect 2 actors to that other man who is literally Black Dynamite.
Yes.
Derville Martin.
He's a dynamite black.
Yes, he is. And keeping in theme,
Okay.
and these are names that you actually may have done before, Vincent, but we're going to see.
Okay.
In 6 movies or less,
6 minutes, maybe I'll do them different if I've done them before. What do we got?
connect Derville Martin
Derville Martin.
to
2.
Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland.
Yes.
Right. Well, you know the quick way to get to Donald Sutherland.
I know the quick way.
is with the split.
Yes.
That's the quick way.
Or there's another movie besides The Split.
Well, that's not what I can think of. Like the split is, but
There's a more popular movie
well, I'll go to the one that I love him in. The one that, frankly, I think about him all the time.
with Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland.
Okay, what movie is that?
Because Derville Martin is in Dolomite
Yes.
with Rudy Ray Moore. Rudy Ray Moore is in The Monkey Hustle
Okay.
with Yaphet Kotto.
Yaphet Kotto?
Yaphet Kotto is in Truck Turner with Nichelle Nichols. Nichelle Nichols is in any of the various and sundry Star Trek films
Of the original.
of the original cast with Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy is in the 1979 remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers with Donald Sutherland, which we're talking about remakes. Each subsequent remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, including the criminally underrated one in the late 90s with Nicole Kidman.
Oh, I never saw that one.
It's a great film. But Donald Sutherland is in that, and Donald Sutherland has, because you know my thing. New Missionaries may not know this. When I was a kid, I didn't understand how reruns worked.
Okay.
Like I thought everyone on television was still on television. So like speaking of Star Trek, like I would watch Star Trek 2 and 3 times a day. I thought Leonard Nimoy was this huge star
Oh, yeah.
because he was on television all the time. So that when I watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers, spoiler for a 40-year-old film, I assumed Leonard Nimoy was going to be in the whole film because he's this huge star. And then Leonard Nimoy gets killed fairly early.
Yes, in that movie, yes.
And it freaked me out because I was now on new ground. And then, speaking of spoilers, it ends with one of the scariest endings of all time with Donald Sutherland. So, yeah, if I'm going to do Donald Sutherland, I'm going to try and land on Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
A remake that is better than the original.
A remake that is better than the original. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a similar thing with Leonard Nimoy. Not so much that I didn't know that they were reruns, but you start to equate the character with the actor.
Sure.
So, and Leonard Nimoy was Spock. Like
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
smartest man in space.
Yeah.
Right? On Star Trek. So then I messed around with my mom and I'm watching Columbo.
Yeah.
And Leonard Nimoy shows up on Columbo. So I'm like, well, Columbo can't outsmart Spock.
It's a classic episode.
You can't do this. Is unfair.
Yeah.
Is this the one where Columbo loses?
Yeah.
Leonard Nimoy, he has to get away.
But it was not the one.
No, it was not.
Excuse me. Just one more thing.
Just one more thing.
Can you clarify one more thing for me?
One more thing.
One more thing. I'm just trying to get straight in my own head. Let me see. I was about to say, do I have something I can you have something I can write on the back of?
So that's my thing.
Right. Was that the easy Donald Sutherland one you were thinking about? What's the famous one?
The Dirty Dozen
Oh, The Dirty Dozen.
with Jim Brown.
Jim Brown, of course. Yes. All right.
Yeah, that was the easy one.
All right.
Donald Sutherland, one of my favorite actors.
Love Donald Sutherland.
I love
Love Donald Sutherland.
All right.
All right.
Continuing the theme.
Yes. Wait, what's the theme though?
The theme is that Kiefer Sutherland was in They Clone
Tyrone. All right. So
and
Donald
I saw
Sutherland
his name.
is his dad.
It is dad.
All right.
And I said, oh, let's do this.
All right.
So
Is there another Sutherland?
No, Skeefer.
Kiefer.
So connect in 6 movies or less. Connect Durban.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, look, the easy way with him, you go to a Few Good Men, just that.
Which is what you used before.
Okay, but speaking of favorite movies, all right, so this is what I'm going to do. All right, so this is how am I going to get to him? Wait. Is that Jason Patrick in Iron Eagle? Who's the white guy in Iron Eagle who looks just like Jason Patrick that I was about to start?
Something tells me it's not Jason Patrick. I'm gonna look it up. Iron Eagle, the first. Well, which Iron Eagle? There's
he's in
8 of them.
Well, he's in the first one because remember he got bigger than Iron Eagle and he left.
No, it's not Jason Patrick.
What's his name?
Jason Gedrick.
Jason Gedrick. Okay, so I can't use Jason. So who else is? Let's see. So Jamie Kurtz, I think, is in like.
Jamie Kurtz.
She's in like Valley Girl, but I don't know who else.
Of all the names to pull up, Jamie Kurtz.
Hey, I'm going somewhere with this. Oh! Okay, I know who I'll use because these are only 2 movies I know him in. And I was going to use Louis Gossett Jr., but I'll use Beneatha's other suitor. So, Derville Martin is in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner with Sidney Poitier. Mm-hmm. Sidney Poitier is in A Raisin in the Sun.
Okay.
With Ivan Dixon.
Yes.
Ivan Dixon is in Car Wash.
Yes.
With George Carlin.
Yes.
George Carlin is in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay.
With Alex Winter. Which the only thing that I know Alex Winter for is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but also The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland, which is my favorite Kiefer Sutherland film.
That's your favorite Kiefer Sutherland film?
We don't grow old and we'll live forever, but we must feed. Yes, we must feed.
That's your favorite Kiefer Sutherland
Lost
film?
Boys is that work and holds up. Like, I think a lot of these 80s movies, we kind of look at them through rose-colored glasses, and but The Lost Boys holds up.
I haven't seen that movie in 1,000 years.
Oh, my goodness. It's got the greatest 80s ending of all of these movies. You remember how it ends? No. So it's the vampires, and it's an 80s movie, so it's like oblivious adults.
Right.
Because remember, the Coreys are the Frog Brothers.
I do know that.
And they live with their grandfather. Mm-hmm. And their grandfather, like the whole movie, he's just sort of grunting and drinking beer and sitting in an easy chair because, dumbass grandpa, like the old people. And so, it's the vampire stuff, it's the vampire stuff, it's the vampire stuff, it's the vampire stuff. And then at the very end, everybody is cornered by the vampires. Mm-hmm. The grandfather drives a pickup truck through the wall of the house, shoots these sharpened 2x4s that he has his contraption made up, kills all the vampires, gets out of the truck, kind of grunts the same way he's been doing the whole movie, and is like, yeah, I love living here. The only problem is all the damn vampires. And that's the end of the movie.
That's a very,
They never explain it. If they made this now, there'd be a whole prequel series.
Of course.
But I love the fact that
they haven't made it yet.
Right. Like, I love the grandfather has this whole thing going on. But, it's the 80s, and it's the Coreys, and it's the greasy dude with the saxophone, and it's all this stuff going on. Certainly the grandfather can't be interesting. And I love the fact that in retroactively, he's the most interesting character in the whole movie. But because it's the 80s and we're not doing all these sequels and toy tie-ins and t-shirts, that's the movie.
You telling me that ending?
Mm-hmm. Spoiler for a 40-year-old movie.
I may not have seen The Lost Boys.
You actually have not seen The Lost Boys.
I don't remember.
You never actually saw it.
Sure I saw
You're
it.
thinking about Tremors with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, I love Tremors.
I was about to say, actually, you're not, because that's a really good movie, too.
I love Tremors.
I was trying to make a joke, and now I realized, no, Tremors is really good.
Tremors is so much fun.
Yeah.
I watch Tremors almost like once every 2-3 years.
Holds up.
I love Tremors.
Oh, yeah, Lost Boys is
But I
at
don't think
work.
I've seen The Lost Boys.
How have you not seen The Lost Boys?
Easily. I just didn't see it.
Lost Boys is fantastic.
But it's not my favorite Kiefer Sutherland movie.
What is it?
A Few Good Men.
Few Good Men?
Yeah. What do you
Yes,
You want to talk about classic movies?
I like A Few Good Men, but Lost Boys.
I have to see it.
Yeah.
I have to see that. You know what movie I hadn't seen for a long time, and I finally sat down and watched? This was now a few years ago.
What?
Warriors.
Warriors. Holds up.
No, it doesn't.
You are bugging. You are actually crazy.
No, it doesn't.
You are actually crazy. The Warriors is good stuff.
No, it's not. It was very boring.
The Warriors is not boring at all. First of all, it's weirdly toned, because it's like it's kind of realistic, but then it's all the gangs.
Yeah, it's very.
I love the fight scenes. I think the forward, just I think the narrative is kind of straight. I love the streamlined narrative of them just trying to get through the city.
It is. It's straight line. I'll give you that.
You're
I was
crazy.
bored.
How are you bored by the Warriors? Which part is boring?
Let's see.
It never lets up.
It comes on.
Yes.
Then there's a movie.
See?
It goes off.
No, I need you to point.
All of that
I
in
need
between.
you to point to the scenes that Walter Hill is directing the hell out of that movie. I 100. You know what?
It's not a black movie. It's not a black movie. Don't even try it.
I don't know. Can you dig it?
Don't even try it. Don't even try it. It's not a black movie.
I don't know.
It's not a black
Might
movie.
be able to come out and play.
No, they can't. They can keep their ass in the house. Do the dishes. Clean your room.
I think you were sleepy when you watched it.
I was sleepy watching
I
it.
strongly disagree with that.
It's not a good movie. It is not a good movie.
Yeah, I don't.
Here's the judge. Let's be the judge.
Okay.
Dylan, have you ever seen The Warriors? Dylan
Has never seen the Warriors.
Well, Dylan is like he's a
He's never
millennial.
seen the Warriors.
He's a millennial.
What's that got to do with anything?
Let him watch it and see if it actually holds up.
No.
You just said it holds up.
I do think it holds up.
Then he should be able to enjoy it.
That's not
That's
fair.
the definition of. What do you mean? That's the definition of holds up. That it's an older film, yet if you can still watch it.
I don't know if that is the definition of holds up, because I think audiences change. I think audience sensibilities change. And I think you have to take that into account. I think you know what? I used to teach Aliens, and Aliens did not hold some of my younger students' attention because it won bang, 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 bang.
How did they pay for the class?
Wait, what?
The Aliens. How did they pay for the class?
Oh, I see what you said. But I do think films have different speeds and different rhythms.
Mm-hmm. True.
That frankly, younger audiences don't necessarily latch on to it, and I don't think it's fair
That
to
is
say
true. That
it
is
doesn't
true.
hold up. Like if you show a young audience Casablanca and they get bored halfway through, do you say, well, Casablanca must not hold up?
No, but I would not say that Casablanca holds up. I think that it's still a good film, but to me, a film that holds up is a film that I can introduce to somebody and I think they can find some enjoyment of it. They may not like it as much as I do, but they can see, okay, I can see where people enjoyed this.
Okay, and I
know
think
what I mean?
you can first of all 100% say that about the Warriors.
And that's Dylan. Let's put
No,
Dylan. Let's put that to the test.
no, we're not. And two, when I say does something hold up, I say again, sort of like I just said with the Lost Boys. Like I watched it, I said I enjoyed it. Time passes,
And you watch it
and
again.
you revisit it,
And then you still find the enjoyment.
right? And you still find the enjoyment. And there are a lot of times you watch these films later, and you go, oh yeah, it's not really it. It doesn't really hold up. And I think scene to scene,
The Warriors.
the Warriors holds up. Like, I think you completely understand how this film was immediately iconic and then still has resonance.
Okay.
So,
I see that in the chat. I know you say don't never read the
right, because there's too much happening. Yeah.
chat. But I see our good friend from Real Black, Mike Dennis, in the chat. I believe he's seen The Warriors.
Yes.
Mike, send us an email, micheauxmission@gmail.com. Does The Warriors hold up? I'll trust his judgment.
Okay.
I'll trust Mike.
And I need you to watch it again.
I will watch it again.
Because I know you. I know you. It was something going on when you watched it. I know you.
Okay. All right.
Something going on when you were watching it. You were sleepy. You were grumpy. You were one of the other dwarves. You were happy. You were Doc. I don't know.
Okay.
But I know you.
I'll tell you what. This weekend,
You're going to watch The Warriors.
I'm going to watch The Warriors and I'm going to watch The Lost Boys.
That's not a bad double feature.
It sounds like it should be a good double feature.
That's not a bad double feature. Oh, God damn. The Warriors and the Lost Boys. Shit, I might want to do that. That's not a bad double feature.
That's what I'm going to watch.
All right.
All right?
The Warriors come out to play was improv? That was improv.
I did hear that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now everybody knows it.
You know why? Because it has resonance. Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
All right.
All right.
And no, Damon, I'm not finishing off my doubleheader with Flash Gordon. Let's get into our review of Bowfinger. Flash Gordon. Even though I actually was tempted to watch that.
It's always a good time to watch Flash Gordon.
You know what? I'm going to do it.
It's always a good time to watch Flash Gordon.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. That's going to be my Sunday.
Yeah.
'Cause, my Sunday is going to be... All right, so what's the order?
Warriors, Flash Gordon,
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys.
Okay, that's the order.
Because Flash Gordon is light and frothy, and it'll break up the two.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Warriors,
Warriors, Flash Gordon,
then
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. That's my Sunday.
There you go.
That's my Sunday movie watching.
I was about to say, does your lady know that? Is she part of these plans, or like? I feel like if you're planning,
I may have set myself up for a solitary weekend.
About to say.
Notice I said Sunday, not Saturday.
I ever tell you, like, one of our earlier dates, like long dates I made when you watched the Planet of the Apes series.
Oh my God.
That girl loved me. That girl loved me. Oh yeah, we sure that we sat and watched them.
Oh my God. Even the second one
Did I not say the series?
where they shoot a baby?
Ain't no skipping them.
Oh
no, they
my-
shoot the baby in the third one.
Oh, the third. Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God, Vincent. Yeah, she's a keeper. She's a keeper, dog.
She said, "Why are the light apes in charge? How come the light apes are in charge of the dark apes?" I said, "Don't ruin this for me. Don't do that. Don't do that."
I did that to somebody watching the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes, and I mentioned how Mark Wahlberg
Yeah, that's
had said that girlfriend looks like
Janet Jackson.
Janet Jackson. The person was watching the movie and it was like, I hate you. And it turns off the
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Couldn't look at it the same. After.
That's right.
I can't. To be honest, I can't watch it now.
Oh, I just don't really mess with Marky Mark like that.
Yeah, I don't
really mess with him like that.
outside of The Departed, I don't really mess with him like that.
And I'm fine with Planet of the Apes. I just don't mess with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right.
All right.
All right.
Ready?
I am ready.
Bowfinger, a 1999 American satirical buddy comedy film. Directed by Frank Oz, written by the star, Steve Martin, and co-starring Eddie Murphy. The film depicts a down-and-out filmmaker in Hollywood attempting to make a film on a small budget with a star who does not know that he is in the movie. The film also stars Heather Graham, Christine Baranski, and Terrence Stamp in Vincent's selection for our 2024 premiere of the Micheaux Mission. Vincent, what say you of Bowfinger?
Well, just to contradict something that I said when we started the show about how I don't really want to engage in gossipy stuff and be that gossipy, I'm going to engage in a little gossip. Earlier.
Spill some tea.
My favorite Jerry Lewis movie is sort of the straightforward, like it's the Purple Rain of Jerry Lewis movies, which is The Nutty Professor.
Okay.
Which most modern audiences know the Nutty Professor story because of, appropriately enough, Eddie Murphy's remake of it, where you have a professor who falls in love with a student in the original one. It gets a little icky, Stella Stevens, and but because he's kind of goofy, he concocts a formula to turn himself into a cool guy, Buddy Love. Right. And Jerry Lewis made the original one. And the gossipy part is that when he becomes Buddy Love, there were really two rumors about who Buddy Love was based on. Right. Because Buddy Love is a super cool guy, but he's also cruel and mean, as you know, and of course she figures out that she's really in love with the Nutty Professor, who is kind. And the two rumors were always that Buddy Love was based on his ex-partner, Dean Martin. And this was a very mean-spirited caricature of Dean Martin.
Yes.
And that's the juicy, sexy rumor. The other rumor, which I've always believed more than not, was that this was really a bit of introspection on Jerry Lewis's part. And that the Buddy Love character represented the side of Jerry Lewis that people didn't see unless you knew him personally, people who worked with him, and that this was kind of representative of his own dark side.
Okay.
So put a pin in that.
I will.
The other thing that I love about the Nutty Professor, and you see this is that Jerry Lewis doesn't really have a lot of effects to help him transform into Buddy Love. Like, I think he has like some, corner store teeth, maybe some glasses. But 90% of his transformation from the Nutty Professor to Buddy Love is Jerry Lewis's mastery of his own physicality. And this mastery of his physicality is why people champion Jerry Lewis and say he's a genius. And, for a long time, it was a cliche that the French loved him so much because he's sort of in the school of a Buster Keaton or a Charlie Chaplin. And I have to say, when Eddie Murphy announced he was going to remake The Nutty Professor, I was always really disappointed that he hid himself under all the prosthetics. Like, I wanted more of a physical transformation with his own physique, like Jerry Lewis did.
Right.
I say all of that to say the main reason I love this film is that, in my mind, this is the closest Eddie Murphy has gotten to the spirit of Jerry Lewis in The Nutty Professor, where he plays these two roles. Kit Kincaid, who is...
Kit Ramsey,
who's an action star and one of these big 90s over-the-top stars, which, back to the rumor with Jerry Lewis, is in many ways a caricature of the Eddie Murphy rumor. Like this sort, like Eddie Murphy is over the top. Eddie Murphy is sort of aggressive with people. Eddie Murphy has a posse. You know, he's very much, you know, he kind of has all these conspiracy theories. He's very much the big Hollywood guy. He is part of a cult that very much, absolutely, categorically is not Scientology at all. Not at all, very much.
Right.
But when he transforms into a character, Jiff, who we come to find out is his brother, his whole body changes.
Yeah.
His whole body changes. His voice changes. His mannerisms change. And it is such a complete transformation that when you say Eddie Murphy is the co-star of this film, you forget how much Eddie Murphy is in the film. Because when he transforms into this other character, it's easy to forget it's Eddie Murphy. You think he's just playing Kit Ramsey.
Right. Right.
But you forget he's also playing this other guy.
Right.
So that's really the foundation of why I brought this film here. And, you know, but there's so much else to celebrate about this. I mean, you know, just right off the top, you talk about the bones of this thing. Frank Oz is an amazingly seasoned director. He's an amazingly seasoned director of comedy.
Yes, he is.
And this is, I always forget how peppy this film is. This film bounces just from scene to scene, from moment to moment. And part of the, besides his direction, you've got this amazing script by Steve Martin, who is by 99 has been in Hollywood damn near 50 years. Well, 99 is maybe 40 years. So he knows the ins and outs of Hollywood and how films are made and what does and does not happen. B, he is rightfully so one of the most celebrated comedians of the past 50 years. So he just knows what's funny.
Yes.
C, he's a great writer. So this experience, this comedic talent, this skill at writing, you get this wonderful script that people rightfully compare to something like Mel Brooks's The Producers. With this low budget filmmaker making this film, as you said, around this film star who doesn't understand that it's being made. So that you have this wonderful physical comedy, you have this wonderful commentary, and it's almost satire. But, you know, I have to say, I think the real secret of this film, there's this great sweetness. Like, it's a sweet story. Like there's commentary, but it's never mean.
Right.
Heather Graham plays a character who is, you know, the running joke is she sleeps with members of the cast or members of the production that she thinks can get her bigger parts in this film.
Yeah.
And this is a character beat. This is a plot detail that I think very easily could have been mean-spirited. Very easily. But somehow, and credit where credit is due, I think Heather Graham is a really good comedic actress in and of herself. And I've not seen her in enough. Like between the, like, in my mind, this and Roller Girl in Boogie Nights are far and away the best roles she's ever had. But I feel like she should have had lots of these roles. So that there is this warmth and humanity to the way this character is depicted, where you never feel like she is exploited. You never feel like she has the kind of hardness that you would think a character like this would have. And she works. Christine Baranski, I'm sorry, is fantastic. Just always fantastic as this over the top actress, kind of out of a Sunset Boulevard type acting that she does. Am I the only one that didn't know Terrence Stamp could be funny? Terrence Stamp as the head of this cult, which is absolutely categorically not Scientology, is so dry.
Yes.
The scenes with him and Eddie Murphy's kinetic Kit Ramsey.
Yeah.
Was like they were like small films within this film. Mm-hmm. So that I just really, really love this film.
I get you saying Eddie being really locked in here and creating two whole characters, as it were. And I did enjoy that. It was interesting to read that he actually shot this film in between filming two other films. Mm-hmm. So it's like, wow. So I think they had like a 6-week window with him to get in. So it was almost like the movie.
Right.
You got me when you got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was very interesting to see that, because as Kit Ramsey, he is like balls to the wall, full of energy. He's popping his lines. He is like, he's moving. He's like almost cat-like in there with his movement. He's really wearing the role. And then when he shows up, it's Jiff, and to the movie's credit, they hold back on that. It's like you're into the movie before he shows up in the other role. And then you're like, oh wow, that is like a whole nother deal, even when that character, because of the plot, is made to look like his brother, Kit, you still feel the difference. Yes, in the physicality. And I agree with you. I think it is so much more impressive when you can just physically become like a different character, as opposed to the prosthetics. You liken it to Jerry Lewis in The Nutty Professor. I'm thinking about it on a more subtle depiction with Christopher Reeve when he was Superman.
Yeah.
Versus his Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Where you actually could feel it's almost like two different people. In the way his body stature and everything like that. So I did appreciate that with Eddie Murphy in this film. Steve Martin, I've always been a huge fan of Steve Martin. I love almost every one of his movies. His movie Roxanne is in my top 5 of movies of all time. I absolutely adore that movie. So I'm in the bag for Steve Martin here. And Frank Oz, as you pointed out, some people may know him primarily, first off, if you don't know Missionaries, he was a Muppet, one of the Muppeteers, Jim Henson's, and the voice of Miss Piggy, in case you didn't know that. But he is an accomplished director, as you noted, of some of the Muppet movies, but of comedy. And specifically in regards to this, and talking about this film, 2 of the movies that he directed, which I absolutely adore: Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, which he directs with Steve Martin and Michael Caine, and What About Bob, with Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray. And especially in What About Bob, because that is a movie where historically, you can go look up the stories, Bill Murray and Richard Dreyfuss hated each other.
Yeah.
They absolutely hated each other during the making of that movie. And if you watch that movie is one of the funniest movies around. I absolutely adore What About Bob. I absolutely adore Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. And it's because both of them are funny, satirical, and have just a hint of a dark tone to them. Right? And that is the one thing that I think is missing from this movie, because it feels like there should be just a little, like it's satirical, but satire, the best satire to me, lends itself to playing with fire a little bit. And this movie, it lights the match, but it doesn't play with the fire, I don't think. Especially with the whole deal with, Mindhead, aka not Scientology.
At all.
With the satire of Hollywood itself. The script says that, forget all the budgets. Every movie can be made for $2,184.
Yeah.
Everything else is just taxes, fees, and everything. All movies cost $2,184. Great line. There needs to be a little bit more of that. I keep wanting this movie to give me a little bit more of that bite. And I think the reason why it's not there, unfortunately, I have to lay at the hand of the writer, Steve Martin, who I just said I absolutely adore. But in 1999, I think Steve Martin's at a point where maybe being a little bit too cute with his stories, playing it a little safe, because like you said, he's been around for a little bit at this point. He's still a star of note, but his movies ain't jumping, people ain't racing to the theaters for Steve Martin movies anymore at this time. And Eddie Murphy's presence notwithstanding, they are co-stars, but in tone and feel, this is a Steve Martin movie that Eddie Murphy is in, not an Eddie Murphy movie to me. And I think he's getting plays a little bit too cute, and I want a little bit of that edge that was there in The Jerk, that was there a little bit in Dead Man Don't Wear Plaid, and that makes me like the movie, but I'm sitting here waiting to just really jump in. It doesn't help that he cast Jamie King. I can't stand Jamie King.
I just ignored him. Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah,
I pretended he wasn't even there.
Yeah, well, but he's there a lot. So
is it a lot?
It's enough.
Oh yeah,
he's in the credits. So I can't get down with him.
I always forget he's in it.
Heather Graham, I like Heather Graham.
Yeah,
but admittedly, this is early Heather Graham.
Yeah,
so she's not as fully formed in this movie. Christine Baranski, I absolutely adore Christine Baranski.
Of course.
And I think rightfully she's in her own movie.
Yes.
in this movie.
Sometimes literally.
Literally. Yeah. But it's not enough to save it. I think there still could have been a little bit more bite there. Yeah. And Frank Oz is a director from What About Bob, from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, even some of his works with the Muppets, because the Muppets could walk that line a little bit too. That I think you got the right director for it, but I think honestly he may have seen the script and it's Steve Martin. He's not going to rewrite Steve Martin. Okay, let's make it happen. I think he maybe phones this one in a little bit. I think he phones it in a little bit.
I think, and you said it. I think you're looking for What About Bob? But I think what you get is something more like Roxanne. Because Roxanne doesn't have a bite. Roxanne doesn't, like, I think
No, it doesn't have a.
I think Steve Martin has this affection for Hollywood, the fantasy of Hollywood,
Okay.
that this kindness, this gentleness that I'm talking about, which you see as a lack of bite, I would group this more with something like Roxanne. And I think, you know, I will grant you that because it has the veneer of a satire, you're thinking that this bite is coming. But I don't know if that was ever
You don't think
the
that was
goal.
his goal?
I don't think that was the goal.
I kind of think it is, man. And some of it just in
Like just the loving sweep, like even from the very beginning with this lovingly sweeping shot of Bowfinger's apartment, where it looks like an apartment from 19. It's like a bungalow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
old
yeah.
school
The old-
bungalow.
right, Hollywood
And,
bungalow.
and there is this kind of throwback feel to the way Hollywood looks throughout the film.
Yeah.
That you know, even the conceit that they're trying to put this movie together and sell it to the bigwig producer, played by Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
And you know the bit with the hanging cord because he pulled the phone out of the car, where it felt very gentle to me.
But that's the thing. Yeah,
But I think that was the point.
yeah, but like you said, if that's the point, then why wear the veneer of satire? Because I think that veneer, like you said, is there, and I think it's meant to be there. Then I'm not saying go for the jugular, but I'm saying then okay, then let's give us the bite. Let's take let's really bite a little bit into, you know, not Scientology, right? Let's go with it. Let's take a deeper stab at the whole inflated ego of the late 80s, 90s action star. You know,
You don't think they stabbed that enough with pulling the gun and the KKKs in the script and like.
yeah, but that's early in the movie.
Yeah,
But then you lose that.
But then by the end, where he falls apart, well, I mean, again, it's Eddie Murphy in both roles. Like, you know, Kit Ramsey leaves the film, so
Yeah.
you know,
I don't know.
and then when he comes back, they actually drive him crazy.
they do cry. Yeah, I do.
Like you're talking about darkness. I realized that this is actually gaslighting the film. Like they actually drove him crazy.
I don't know. Another thing, a piece of trivia. You probably saw this. This is kind of based on a real story.
Yeah, 1927. 1927.
Mary Pickens.
Yeah.
People just following around.
They're following around and made a movie around her. That's right. I love that.
That is crazy.
Look, I think there is a kind of person that loves Hollywood. And as I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm kind of putting it together. Like you're talking about grouping this and you're thinking it should be grouped with something like What About Bob? But besides Roxanne, this feels like the Hollywood from the Muppet movie. Like, you know, again, this kind of timeless throwback, kind of almost not quite sepia toned, but this kind of haze of you know, again, the mythology of Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess it does. And maybe what it is, to be fair, because it does have a little bit of like that. It's not set in those tones, but like you said, with the whole bungalow, it gives you a little bit of that feel. Perhaps I'm looking for the bite that. You know what I'm looking for?
What?
I'm looking for Get Shorty. That's
Right.
what I'm looking for.
Right. Which Get Shorty is
a
a
satire.
crime film disguised as a comedy.
But it is a satire.
Yes.
It is a satire of Hollywood.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I'm looking at...
And it's not Get Shorty.
Oh,
At all.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm...
Few things are Get Shorty.
Get Shorty.
Yeah.
Top 10.
Yeah, but you're talking about that bite.
Yeah, a little
that
bit
sort of
that bite there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you're right. Maybe I am... Because I'm saying all of this, I would recommend the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I did enjoy it. It's I just feel like I wanted more.
Right.
But I did enjoy the movie. It is funny. One of the funniest comedy scenes of the 90s is Jiff running across the expressway.
That was so funny. And again, talking about him vanishing in the role, I actually thought for a split second, wow, I'm glad they're not trying to get Eddie Murphy to do this. Because, Eddie Murphy is way too much of a prima donna to even, I'm like, at first I was like, well, how are they going to do the special effects? And I'm like, well, it's not Eddie Murphy doing it, it's Jiff. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. It's so at the end of the day, like I said, I would recommend
Jiff seeing Heather Graham's breast. Awesome. That 45 seconds of him respond, like just Eddie Murphy is so funny. I've wanted to see a script for what I wrote it down. What is the script? Because another bit of vignettes. Kit Ramsey yelling at his white manager. Him saying, find me the script for something called Buck the Wonder Slave so that he could win an Oscar.
Well, you already hit on the bit where he counts the K's in the script.
He counts the K's.
It is 1,456. It's divided by 3.
When that dude says to him, it's not Shakespeare, and he says, what? You see what he's doing? You see what he's doing? And his boy says, I know he's doing something, but tell me what he's doing. He says, Shakespeare. Shake a spear. He just called me a spear chucker. Come on, man. And again, Eddie Murphy is such a good sport to go along with, because again, for those of you who don't really remember the 90s like this is the kind of thing that people used to say Eddie Murphy was like. Like he had this posse and like it was this sort of veneer of anti-whiteness that people ascribed to him. And like, this is very much, and then just that kind of arrogance. So I just, he was just such a good sport. And I do wonder because, it just left my hand because originally this one's supposed to be Eddie Murphy.
No.
Steve Martin wanted,
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. And I wonder how much of this was rewritten for Eddie Murphy and how much Eddie Murphy kind of contributed and ad-libbed. Because I think it can go either way.
Well, I think,
Like I think Steve Martin is a good enough writer that he could have come up with Shakespeare, spear chucker. But I also think Eddie Murphy
could have.
Right.
I got this part.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that he did the role. I could not see Keanu Reeves in this role. And mind you, the role would have looked different, but Keanu's energy just in general.
Honestly, the only other person I could see in this role who could play both roles like this in 99 is Tom Cruise.
See, I always, you know what? It's funny because of the not Scientology part.
He wouldn't have done that.
Well, he wouldn't have done it, but that's why I always thought it was maybe a satire of him.
I 100% think this is about Tom Cruise. Because, I'm sure black people become Scientologists.
Well.
But, Isaac Hayes is on the phone, apparently. But when we think about Scientology, this is some white people stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then, the big action star in the Scientology, who else is it but Tom Cruise?
Yeah, it would have been Tom Cruise. I maybe in this role in '99, Bruce Willis. Just thinking of somebody that maybe
Is Bruce Willis a good enough actor
to do the
to play the right? I'm
Jeff
thinking about
role.
good enough actor to play dual roles.
I know. I'm thinking maybe I could see Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise
Because
could
Tom
have.
doesn't-
He would have
doesn't-
killed it.
He doesn't get the props that he deserves.
Not
as
at all.
A straight actor.
Tom Cruise would have killed this.
He would have killed it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking the only other person maybe at that time. You know,
I don't think Bruce Willis could have pulled this off.
maybe probably not.
Like again, who else besides Tom Cruise could have played both roles?
Yeah, you're right. You know what? Now that I think about it, because I don't think that Bruce Willis would have had the fun with himself.
Bruce Willis. I mean,
I think he.
I also don't think Bruce Willis is a good enough actor. And I love Bruce Willis. I don't think Bruce Willis could have played these dual roles.
Fair enough.
You know, at the height of his
Powers.
powers.
Yeah. Would you recommend Bowfinger?
I would recommend Bowfinger. I think I think you know, in one of the one of our postings you said, you know, is this Eddie Murphy's last great role or this, that, and other, but I do think you have this pocket where it's like this and Life, and it was something else that I saw that was closer to this film than not.
I can tell you. Let me look it up because he was.
I thought there was a third film in there where I was like, oh yeah, that was a good Eddie Murphy movie too.
He was. What was he filming around in this time, which was 1999?
Yeah, I don't think it was anything super good.
Say that. He was doing. Well, this is not his full filmography. That's why I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not even seeing Life. In 1999, he releases Bowfinger and Life, and then after that is
Or before that, after or before.
Life is before Bowfinger.
Okay.
Because he's filming Life at the same time. That's
Okay.
when he's got the 6-week break from. And then he is doing Nutty Professor 2.
Okay.
Yeah, Nutty Professor 2, and that's followed by Shrek.
Right. So and then
His filmography takes a downward turn
right. Well,
after
look, when Shrek hits, part of the reason it takes a downward turn,
you don't need no more money.
he spends so much energy trying to swim through all the money, trying to get to the set. Good Lord. You ever hear Chris Rock tell the story? Like that's why he did Madagascar? Eddie Murphy said, you better make some of this cartoon money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I don't blame him, man.
Good Lord.
I wanted to touch on other thing you said earlier. You put in a pin a little bit about Jerry Lewis.
Yes.
You said Nutty Professor is your favorite Jerry Lewis movie.
Yeah.
Nutty Professor leaves me cold.
Why?
Because I quickly soured on Jerry Lewis because especially once you start reading stories about comedy, which I was always a fan of comedy.
Absolutely.
And I read the stories and I know about why him and Dean broke up and stuff like that. So Jerk Lewis became like I just didn't dig. But
I'm glad we're talking about because it's something I wanted to mention. Go ahead.
But the Nutty Professor, I always found it like just I don't know, just a little bit too rough, like the whole buddy love, and like you said, you're saying that you think he's doing a little bit of introspection of himself. I don't think the man is that introspective enough, especially not at that time, to do that. But I think he's blind enough to not realize that he actually is doing
about himself.
On there. And it just leaves me cold. My favorite Jerry Lewis movie and I don't return to any of them now. But if I were to return to any of them, would be the bellhop.
Is that where he plays the different version? Oh no, the bellhop is where he plays. Well, I also like the one where he plays the different versions with the little girl.
Oh,
that he ends
yeah.
up adopting. What's that called?
Oh God, I think this.
I know we've talked about this before because nobody likes this movie but me.
Yeah, got me jumping through
I know.
filmography.
You would think I wouldn't know it off the top of my head since I'm the only one on earth that likes it.
Yeah, I don't even think Jerry likes it anymore. Jerry Lewis, his filmography. I know the movie that you're talking about, and it's not a good movie. Where's this career? Come on. Oh God. It takes you so. Admittedly, he's had such an amazing career. It takes you a while to get to his freaking filmography.
Which we have to.
The Family Jewels.
The Family Jewels. I like the Family Jewels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But speaking of Jerry Lewis, did you hear the Jerry Lewis news?
Oh, about the clown.
The clown that cried. They're going to show it.
Yeah, but they haven't said where.
They haven't said where
when.
and
Well,
how
I think
many.
it's supposed to happen like in the spring.
Yeah, and how many people are going to see it and this, that, and the other. For those of you that don't know, The Clown That Cried is the infamous Nazi clown movie that Jerry Lewis made. And the plot, the plot is out, right?
Yeah.
Like the plot has always been that Jerry Lewis plays a clown.
A Jewish clown.
At a concentration camp who amuses kids and people before they are executed.
Yes.
And infamously, it has been sealed up
By Jerry.
And over the years, you hear people say, I saw snippets of it.
Some people have seen it.
People have seen it, but it's always something real. It was 3 a.m. I was in an unnamed producer's mansion in the basement, and he smuggled out a copy, I saw it.
It reportedly is not a completed film.
Yeah.
But it's enough that you can see everything. The one person who I believe that actually he says he saw it, and I believe he saw it, is Harry Shearer, the voice of Homer Simpson. And he says it's something like, he's not going to say good or bad about it. But yeah, the story is out that Jerry Lewis had worked up some type of agreement with I forget if it was a company or whomever, that this movie would be able to be screened in 2024.
Right.
And I think they set it's supposed to be like July, but there was no, at least as far as we know, there's been no indication, like you said, of how it will be screened.
Or even once it's screened, will there be a wider release?
Right. You want to see it?
Oh my God, yes.
I do want to.
Dog, you got to. It's like what is it? The Magnificent Ambersons missing footage, and they say like they have the storyboards of King Kong fighting the giant spiders, but they didn't film it. Like this is like if you get a chance, like you gotta see it.
It is one of those film holy grail.
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
That has been our review.
What better way to end a black film review than talking about an old film legend about
Jewish clowns.
Of Jewish clowns and Jerry Lewis? How else would we end?
Welcome to 2024 on the Micheaux Mission.
Yeah, he's still on that bullshit.
Before we tell you what we're going to be reviewing next week, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to like and follow the Micheaux Mission on the social media of your choice, whether it be Instagram, X, or Facebook. At Micheaux Mission, you can follow us. Become a follower. Better yet, subscribe to the Micheaux Mission on YouTube at Micheaux Mission, and hit that bell so you can be notified of when we put up new videos. I put up new videos today. There's a video up there about Kevin Hart can do more.
He can.
See what Vince has to say about it. There's also a new 6 Degrees of Derval Martin video up there. on the Micheaux Mission on YouTube. Subscribe and tell a friend, why don't you? Tell a friend that this is and I looked this up, Vincent.
Okay.
Looked this up today. Of the close to 113,000 documented TV and film podcasts out in the United States, the Micheaux Mission is number 158.
Wow. So we're almost in the top 10%.
Yes. Well, we are like right there.
Okay.
We are right there, man.
All right.
So tell a friend.
Tell a friend. Tell an enemy.
Yeah. Tell them all.
Tell them all.
Get into the top 100.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. All right.
All right.
The Micheaux Mission is also a proud member of The Podglomerate, thepodglomerate.com. They make podcast work such as ours, which streams to you live every Tuesday night from YUNKJunk, Philadelphia's premier video podcast palace. Go to Dylan at YUNKJunk.com. That's right. Email Dylan at YUNKJunk.com so that you can book yourself into one of the fabulous studios here at YUNKJunk Central. And Vincent, I was just doing the tally with Dylan before we started. They've got a podcast going on in pretty much every studio here.
I like
multiple podcasts in some of the other studios.
All right.
As a matter of fact, multiple podcasts in all of the other studios.
All right.
Except this one.
Oh, that's
Because
nice.
this is the Micheaux studio.
It is.
So
It
y'all
is.
can book your time at YUNKJunk and you can take a picture of our set. But they've got other sets. They're just as beautiful. They're just as beautiful.
Just as beautiful.
They just don't have us.
No,
They don't.
because it'd be weird. I mean, it would be. It'd be weird.
Fair enough.
It'd be weird.
It would be.
It's like a Big Brother-esque picture of us looking for everyone. We're judging you.
Next week on the Micheaux Mission. Why did my voice crack? Next week on the Micheaux Mission, ladies and gentlemen, it's still cracking. Next week on the Micheaux Mission,
Oh, Lord.
we stay in the year of 1999.
Okay.
It's my turn.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
Len has selected a film starring another black comedian.
Yes.
A black comedian who heretofore has been underserved on the mission.
Mm-hmm. That's
Until
true.
now.
That's true.
Next week, we delve into the filmography of Martin Lawrence, starting with Blue Streak.
Blue Streak. All right.
Next week here on the Micheaux Mission. Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
We'll see you when it's time to meet again.